just staple a plastic bag to the canvas and then throw paint on it. And it was really just, me trying to make this very classically skilled and trained artist be worse.
The first thing I'm curious about is just kind of how you found this script in the first place and at what point in reading it did you know that you wanted to direct it?
I think it was the first scene, which we had to amend, of course, because we couldn't get Andy Warhol's Campbell soup painting, which I knew we wouldn't be able to. But the first scene had some fun to it. And I thought, oh, I really like where this guy is going. It's not just a scene about some guy beating up some other guy and like, there's so many thrillers out there and there's so many like run and gun, we need the money. We have to do this to get it. Like those movies are there. There's a lot of them. And this had a bit of humor to it that I really liked.
I read another interview where I think you mentioned that it kind of shifted more towards the thriller as it went along. Was there a lot of tonal change as maybe from what you were expecting as you were putting this together?
This is a business, and if producers tend to say make thrillers and that's in their wheelhouse, then there was a hearty battle between a hearty creative battle that I think the movie kind of walks the line between thriller and, I don't want to see comedy, let's say dramedy, and so I was always making sort of a ironic, satirical, funny piece about the art world and these people who happen to be in this particular time and space and needing to get out of the mess that they've created. And so I was trying to have elements of a thriller, but it was less of a thriller to me and more of a fun send up of the art world.
It is. I mean, even in the trailers, I'm not giving anything away, but it's such a thing that Reggie's, like Joe Manganiello's character, the art is kind of awful. And then you obviously do so much with that. But who made the art? Where'd you get it?
That so many people have that question. We have so many meetings about Reggie's art, as you can imagine. It was so important for it not to be good and for it to be primal and primary colors. And I remember when I first started painting, it was a red and blue mess. Mm-hmm. It was like a child had done it. And I thought, okay, so we had an artist, he was in Brooklyn, he's a brilliant gentleman. And it was really, I think 5 or 6 different passes at the art, because the first one he did was very refined and it was very good. And so we had to amend that. I was like, I just kept telling him, just be worse. Like just staple a plastic bag to the canvas and then throw paint on it. And it was really just, me trying to make this very classically skilled and trained artist be worse than he is. And so it was definitely counterintuitive for him, but better for the movie.
I believe that I saw you came up in kind of Groundlings and worked in Funny or Die and stuff like that. Because you're performing yourself, do you think you were more specific about performances even when you're working with, this incredible cast that you have?
Definitely not in terms of, for lack of a better word, like directing performances and policing performances. I'm really about setting the stage for the set to be the best possible place that an actor could step onto. And the moment they do, there's always so much going on set. Like, it's, for me, when I first started acting, it was always like intimidating of like all the different conversations. Like, you're like, are they talking to me? Are they not? Like, as an actor, it's next to impossible to remain in the character while a lot of this noise is going on. So my favorite thing as a director is to just, as soon as the actors step onto set, like I didn't have to make Uma or Sam comfortable. They're very comfortable in their skin. Um, but it was just important for me to set the stage to allow them to play in the best way that they know how. I mean, what they brought to every take was varied, and I had so Uma Thurman's performance in this movie, to me is so brilliant because I was able to take certain lines of dialogue out of one take and put it in her mouth for another because she did it the same way rhythmically, but different emotionally. And like, that's how brilliant Uma Thurman is. And no one will never, ever know where we did that, but we did it. And she's just incredible at what she does. And so was the rest of the cast. So yes, performance is important to me. It's the most important thing a director could do, right? Is cast the best actors for the role. And I've Ellen Lewis was my casting director. I mean, she cast Goodfellas and like Postcards from the Edge. She was a casting associate on. Like, this woman, she knows truth within actors, and that was the most important thing for me.
Not only do you have like just these veteran actors, but you have really fun, it seems, dynamics at play with like Maya Hawke, acting with her mom, I think for the first time, and Uma
Yeah.
Thurman and Samuel Jackson, coming back together. Was there, I mean, could you sense just like a level of comfort on this because people had relationships already?
Yes and no. I Uma is a master and she's always trying to up her game. And so the scenes between Uma and Sam, I mean, I was saying in the last interview, like, I was just watching the master going, I could just play the whole master. Like, the takes were so playful and so brilliant, and I could see like both Uma and Sam ping ponging back and forth in a way that was, like you mentioned, like very playful. And I just was sort of in awe watching them do it. And I could leave it. I could have left it in the master, and no one would have said a, I'm sure people would have said something, but I think the true fans of them and their work, they would have eaten it all up.
This movie, something I love about this is that you have these actors and everything, and it feels like an opportunity for all of them to do something at least a little, a little different, some kind of new. You have Samuel L. Jackson speaking Yiddish, which is props for that. Were there moments during shooting where you could just tell that they were kind of particularly excited about anything they got to do?
Yes. When Joe was murdering people, I thought he's a little too excited about this. Um, no, it was important for us to, yeah, we were making sort of, look, it wasn't, say Goodfellas where they're like stabbing someone, or he's putting a bag over someone's head, and it's when you do that along with stabbing someone, like, you're very close to them, and it's a very personal thing. And it was important. Yes, we are making a movie about the art world that's sending up the art world that has some fun in it, but it was important to tonally get that right. And aside from Joe, I mean, even like Maya, when she was talking about the art, like we would improvise before the scene when Joe and Uma come in, and I think I let her go for like a minute, and she was very excited to dive into that. And same with Sam, and like the baking of the bread, and like they they come onto set and it's got to be of the world because that has to inspire the actors. And so immediately when, Sam picked up a wad of cash and he was like, it helps. You have to provide that. And thankfully my production designer just was brilliant and thought of every aspect of it. But by and large, I would say all of the actors were they walked on set and they just dove right into the world. And I think that's a testament to the production designer and that they create a world that is believable to the actors, not just a facade.